What's up, everybody? We have Gary here, who's a great student of Major League Profits. I'm here to ask him some questions about what he's been doing, how he's been making money. But Gary, you want to introduce yourself? Where are you from? Who are you? What do you like to do? Tell me.
Yeah, so I'm Gary Smith, based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Have a beautiful wife I've been married to for 40 something years, 7 grandkids. They all live in town. So I'm leading a crazy fun life, um, and been in technology software sales for 40 years also. And that's winding down as we speak. I'm getting ready to retire from my day job and move full time into all the other things in life I want to do, which includes
Oh,
cards.
you're probably good at sales. Me and my business partner have this theory that people from the South with a slight Southern draw sound more trustworthy, so they're better at sales.
I don't know about that.
That's our theory.
It depends on where you're selling, I think. I mean,
That's
it's
that. That's true. That's true. We have this theory that because I'm like from the Northeast and you could just see it all over me. We come across a little bit more like scammy, I guess, for
right.
lack of a better
No,
word.
I mean, my wife's from Ohio. I mean, she's more northern than I am, but people up north are more matter of fact. They don't have time to mess around, and they'll give you an answer and what they're thinking right off the bat. In the South, you got to work hard to get the truth out of somebody. I mean,
Yep,
they're
that's
real
a
careful about hurting your.
that's a good way to put it. Anyways, let's dive into the sports cards. So, when did you join the program?
January, first week of January of
Okay,
2024.
cool. And we're
Just been
speaking
here, so.
6 months later right now. So go into that like obviously you're making money now buying and selling sports cards, but like before like the program, have you ever bought a card before? Did you even know what sports cards was? Like what was your knowledge? Did you do it? Did you not?
Yeah, I'm like most people my age. I had cards from when I was a kid. Just a small handful of them remained after they got lost and tossed out. But I got back into cards in 1980, um, and started buying mostly baseball at that point, all through the 80s and 90s. And then started grading some in the early 2000s, not big numbers, but 20, 30 cards a year kind of thing. Um, and those were mostly cards I'd picked up at card shops. Didn't really know how to shop for condition. And be honest, I used to buy cards, but the most fun I ever had in the hobby was putting sets together. I built a 64 and a 67 set,
Nice.
and I still believe that. Are you familiar with a guy named Al Rosen? They used to call him Mr. Mint.
Oh, Mr. Min. I remember that name. I remember that. I've heard that through the grapevine before.
Yeah, I think he single-handedly changed, and some people would say ruined the hobby,
Yeah.
because he put so much laser focus on a mint condition card that people began to think if it wasn't mint, it wasn't worth having.
Didn't he used to go to card shows and just
Oh
spend
yeah,
tons
yeah,
and tons of money,
yeah,
right?
on
Yeah.
mint cards. But what happened was all those mid-range cards, the Willie Stargells and the Al Kalines and the uh, the mid-range players, people were buying them all the time, and also buying commons to build sets. But nobody did that anymore because they all focused on mint cards. And if there's no market for all the rest of that stuff,
Yeah.
that really changes the hobby. It really changed
Yep.
it big time.
Yep. You got people like me running around. You could say you could grade cards and make money.
Yeah. So, but I didn't really pay enough attention to what a mint card was, and didn't focus enough. I paid more attention to players I liked than condition of the card. And I bought a lot of stuff over the years that I just didn't buy the right card at the right price. And
But
the
it
product.
sounds like you were doing it. Like I'm curious. Like obviously you probably saw an ad, right? You clicked it and it interested you to make money. But what changed? Like why'd you go from like oh like I'm just doing this for fun to oh wait let me actually turn this into a business and make money. If you're enjoying the content of the video and want to learn how to make a side income with sports cards, I spent the past 3 months putting together a training to show you exactly how it's done in detail. Sports cards has allowed me to live a life beyond my wildest imagination, and I'm thankful for the hobby every single day. That is the reason I teach sports cards, and I'm so passionate about it.
At the end of the training, we offer a paid program where you can work closer with me. However, I do not want you joining until you've watched the training I put together. It will show you exactly what's inside the program and how to make money with sports cards, and from there, you can make an educated decision. If you'd like to sign up for the training, either scan the QR code on the screen or text the word Eric to 973-755-9486, or click the link in the description. Just to repeat it, if you'd like to sign up and watch the training, scan the QR code or text Eric to 973-755-9486, or click that link in the description. Now let's get back to the video.
I don't remember. It had to be the opening of your marketing piece. I mean, or whatever you said resonated with me. I mean, I knew. I mean, I saw that marketing message probably not long after I was living under the cloud of buying 30 or 40 PSA 10 Ja Morants. So I got to a point in that period where my success of getting 10s was very low.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, why spend the money on 10? I'll just buy cards that already are 10s.
Yep.
At that point, I loved Ja Morant. To me, I loved watching him play. I thought he was going to, light things up in the NBA. So I just started buying Ja Morant PSA 10s before he brandished a gun on social media.
Yeah.
And before he got injured.
Yeah, he's
So,
it's crazy. Like him and I know this was like before a lot of people got into sports cards, but like before sports cards went crazy in the pandemic, like 2019, Prism, Zion, and Morant were like the shit. Like they were the biggest things in sliced bread. It was crazy. Like they were like, there's no way these guys can fail. This is the future. These guys are amazing. And then look today, like Zion can't stay healthy. Neither can Morant. Morant's done some stupid things. So yeah, it's crazy. And that's why I tell people, most players long-term, no matter how good you think they are, like right now while we're speaking, like CJ Stroud's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He probably won't pan out to what most people think he's going to be. And it's hard to imagine now, but that's just how sports goes.
Well, that's what I've learned in this. I mean, I was buying cards assuming that all sports cards go up, some more than others, but they all go up. And that was dead wrong. I mean, if you want to buy cards for a personal collection and hold on to them and you don't really care what the price of them evolves to, then fine, buy them for your personal collection. But if you're buying them for an investment and to make money, you better learn Eric's program, because the way I was doing it was not.
Yeah, that's almost every single person that comes in the program was either A, doing what you're doing, just buying their favorite player, cards already graded, or B, breaking. Both great ways to lose money. So, but let's get into the money making things. So, you want to dive into that? Like, how much money you spent on cards? How many cards have you bought? What's the profits look like? What do the profits look like in the next month or two? Like, go into that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say from January forward, I've bought probably close to 500 cards, averaging around 100 a month, and then having 90% of those graded.
That's good.
Probably getting a 60 to 70% PSA 10 ratio on those. So pretty happy with my results on those cards. And the price range of those, ranges anywhere from, $50 to, I mean, I've paid over $1,000 a few times for certain cards.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot, right? I mean, I think MLP tells you to try to stay in that 50 to 200 price point. And you learn after you buy some higher dollar cards, why that makes sense, right? I mean, it's nice to have a card that you think can bring $2,500. There's not that many buyers out there for a $2,500 card. So
because of that, it squeezes your margins. These cards are harder to grade a 10. It's you could do it. Like as you get more advanced, you could do it, but it's usually just not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a PSA 10 Bernard SP1. I got a 10 back on that one. I thought was pretty special.
Nice. What'd you pay on that?
That one I think I paid $800 or $900. So it was a darn good thing I got got the 10 on it.
What does the 10 bring now?
2,000, 2,200.
Okay.
There.
Pretty solid, not too
Yeah.
bad. So what do you think is like how much money have you spent on all these cards, like a rough range? And like, let's say 60% of them 10, all the one, I know you probably have a bunch of cards at grading. Like, I want to get like an analysis of like what's your like potential or like projected profit here in the next few months when all these cards are sold and graded and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Do you have, like a rough range?
Yeah, I think dollar wise, let's say I've spent 45 to 50,000. And I think I can turn that into 80,000, maybe 70 to 80. I don't have an exact number on
Yeah.
the way my process is there, and the reason I don't have a tight number on that, when I get a card back graded, I put it on my spreadsheet because now I know if it's a 10 or a 9 or how to
Yeah.
value. I've got a couple of hundred cards still out being graded.
Yeah. That's
So I don't
always,
know yet. So they're not on my spreadsheet yet.
and you'll never know because it's always an evolving door. It's always
Right,
you
right. So
keep
I
buying,
don't, so
you keep
I can give you a tighter number on the 300 that are already on my sheet than I can the 500 I've bought. Those are two different numbers.
Gotcha.
What I
Yeah,
don't know.
you'll never. It's always like you just keep buying,
Yeah.
sell, you buy more.
And
Um,
that's what I do. I'm having so much fun buying and grading. It's just, I just love it. I love doing it.
yeah, it's a good time. Can't go wrong with making money in sports. Those are two good things. What do you think? Here's a good question. Like, obviously, you've succeeded pretty well. You bought tons of cards. Why? What do you think about like why have you been so successful with sports cards in the program as opposed to others that might take a little bit longer? Like, what's your
I
secret?
think I will tell you that I've been in sales for 40 years. But I'm a little bit, I think, unique in that I love detail. I love getting into the weeds. I'm strategic also, but I love getting into the weeds.
Yeah.
And I love doing the research. You know, 'cause when I say I love buying cards, an important part of that is doing the research, you know, comp research, looking at PSA
It's fun.
10s, you
It's
see
addicting.
how the grading actually, how they look at the card that ends up being a 10. Um, Even to the point, Eric, I don't know if you listen to the Market Movers. They have some podcasts. They had a web event last week, and this guy Teapot was talking about their Market Movers data, and I was asking him where he gets the data. Well, they get it from eBay, from PWCC, from a couple of auction houses, and they're adding more data from other sources as we go. So I said, well, when you give the comp information, is there a way to distinguish comps from PWCC, from eBay, from Golden Auctions, so I can see which one's bringing the most money as a seller? But I can also see where you might can buy it cheaper if I'm a buyer.
Yeah.
He said we don't have that yet, but it's coming. We're good. But that's when I talk about research and detail, I get into the weeds in that kind of a way.
Yeah, that's why you're successful.
And then it helps on the purchase, right? I mean, it really helps. And people that say they don't know what to look for, they can't think of what car. My gosh, I could 24/7 be looking and never run out of stuff to look
Yeah,
at.
you're preaching to the choir. Like people it's one of the most common questions I get, whether it's in the program or outside of the program. What card should I buy? How do I find them? And like I'll go on eBay, share my screen, do it in like 2 minutes. They're like, how'd you do that? I'm like, you just gotta like pay attention to the detail and just know what you're looking for, know how to evaluate the condition, know like the data, what cards actually bring a profit versus those that don't.
And then be creative. And then be creative. You know, I mean, it's if you zero in on a certain card, like if I'm looking for a CJ Stroud silver, and I page through page after page of Stroud silvers, then I'll see, you know what, I'm getting a little bored with this. Now let me look at 2023 Prism silvers without a name and just see what pops up, you know, what price points, and you start discovering things you might have never even looked for that have great ROIs.
Yep. Yeah, it's always another kind of like searching for cards. It's just a mix of things, like search for a certain player and then search for a brand and then search for a bunch of players at once and then like just mix it up. That's the best way. There's no like just do this and all the
Right.
good cards will pop up, right? That's not how life works.
But your program has exposed me to all these different tools that I can use for the research and just learning all kinds of new things. You know, pre MLP, when I talked about buying, I was buying a lot of. So my track record, I started buying in 1980, 82, 83. Topps didn't make enough of those, so they fixed that. So 86, or starting in 87, they started way overproducing. Well, I started buying in open cases in 87. I've got unopened cases of 87 Topps and 88 Donruss and 89 Donruss, 87 Donruss sitting in my closet now, that have hardly gone up at all over the years. They've gone up a little bit lately.
Yeah, only if you had 86 Fleer.
Well, so where I'm going with that is market movers. I noticed paging through some of their cards, a Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Donruss you could buy for $3 to $5, but a PSA 10 was over 300. Well, they're hard to 10, I'm sure, but that's pretty good ratio, right? So now I'm thinking I'm going to open up that entire case I've got in the closet. I mean, if I just find one, it's more than I'll get trying to sell the case, and I'll have more fun opening it.
Yep, that is true.
So but that's the mindset MLP has taught me, that I've spent years not knowing what to do with that stupid case. I didn't want to sell it and lose money. Now I know what I'm going to do with it.
Yep, interesting. So I guess kind of answer my last question too, is like, so you went from doing sports cards for a while, but just kind of do it for fun. Now you've turned into a business to make money. Like, what is the most surprising thing you've learned through this whole process? Or like, what to you is like, have you learned that's been very important?
Just learning how to time the market and when you should be thinking of selling.
That is important.
Because like I said earlier, I know now that buying and holding is not the way to make money, but that still doesn't tell me when to sell or where to sell or what to sell for. And if there was one thing that I would say about your program, I love the coaching calls. I mean, I make almost all of them. I mean, you learn so much on those calls. To the point that I do send in cards to my coach still, but I love showing cards to the group and the coach on a Monday night call or a Thursday night call. Hey guys, what do you think about this card? You see, does this look like something? Is this centered? How do you fit? And getting the group think around that on not cheap card, but expensive cards you're thinking about buying. It's just fun. And the group we love evaluating each other's cards and kind of showing them things they weren't looking for. I mean, it's just cool. It's just cool. But where I was going is there's so much focus on the buying and the condition. There's maybe more focus could be on the selling side. We do talk about it some on one of the calls, but I mean, like now we're all trying to figure out, is PWCC a decent place to sell? Is eBay PSA Vault a good place to leave your cards and sell them? I'm thinking about, I mean, I've got a Shopify website that I built for my brother and a book that he did a couple of years ago. So I know how to build a website. I'm going to be building a separate store to put my cards in on Shopify. Certainly won't have the transaction fees, but also won't have much of an audience for it either.
That's actually something I've been thinking about doing, building a Shopify store, running ads to it, building an audience, getting a list, and showing you guys how to do that. To maybe you could, like, instead of just like selling cards, well, now let's build a brand.
Right. Yeah, I know how to do it, but the hard part is getting the audience. I mean, social media advertising is hard. I would say you've broken the code on that. I mean, you clearly have gotten your message in front of a lot of people in the right
Yeah.
ways. And I got a lot to learn on that side of it.
Yeah, that's I was thinking about putting something in the program along those lines, because if you know how to do social media right, it's some life-changing stuff, because you could just
Well, what you're doing that I'm going to start doing more of now that I'm going to be retired is it's all about video content. You got to have a lot of YouTube content, a lot of podcasts, a lot of video, and I don't have enough video content. I mean, all
yeah.
the social media stuff I did for my brother's book was all images and, pictures, and you just don't get much bang out of that.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely gonna touch on. But Gary, I appreciate you coming on, man. You'll probably get a bunch of people messaging you and DMing you like, "Yo, like, how'd you do that?"
Yeah. So I love helping people. I mean, that's sharing my insights
Well,
and
cool,
learning from
Gary.
them. Every time I help somebody, I learn something else from them.
That is also true. That's what I think. Making money is the best, because like after a certain amount of money, this is like law of diminishing returns. Like, how much more can you make? Like, using the money to help others, something I strongly believe in. So
Yeah.
we see eye to eye on that. But Gary, I appreciate it, man. I'll upload this to the Discord, throw it on YouTube, talk about video content. Well, you got some video content now. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Eric.